Hello friends, this is Divyansh Patel and I am here to explain you PPT on access control matrix model. So let's start with a brief introduction. So access control matrix model is a fundamental model of protection in which the users and the processes rights on the resources and data is defined. Whether a particular resource or data can be used by the user or process or not. So this model was first proposed by Lamson and it was further enhanced by Graham and Denning and Harrison et al. The access control matrix model contains a single digital files having both the subjects and the objects. The subject basically here means the users or the processes or the programs, while the object are the resources or the data. Now its function is to control which subject have the access to which object with some specific access operation, which means which subject means our program or processes have what rights, the rights which can it perform on the objects. This is all defined in a matrix known as access control matrix. Now look at the elements of the access control matrix. So it has got four elements. First one is subjects. These are the entities like users, processes or program that can access the resources. The second one is objects. These are the resources that are being protected or accessed by the subjects, that is files, directories, databases, etc. The third one is operations. So what operation a subject can perform on the object are the operations. So this can include read, write, execute, delete or any other operation. The fourth one is access rights. These are the special permissions that specify what operation a subject can perform on the object. Only based on this access right, a subject is allowed to perform operation. So access control matrix rights either can be granted or denied by the system, which depends on the security requirements. So let's have a brief overview over the implementation of the access control matrix model. So on the right side, you can see a figure. It is basically a matrix in which you can see the rows. The rows are basically the subject and the column are the objects. So S defines for subjects from S0 to Sn and objects from O0 to On. So and R are the rights. So entities are written as A in the matrix, like we write the subscript. In the subscript we have defined subject comma object, which is basically the element of the this matrix. Now what are the steps? So first step is identify the objects, subjects and the actions. Then describe the protection state which are defined by the system. Now third is state of the system is defined by triple SOA, in which S is the subset of subject, O is the set of object and A is the matrix. So elements indicate the access right that subjects have. So basically entry is done on the basis of A. In the subscript we write S comma A, S comma O of access control matrix, which defines the privilege of S on O. So you can see in the figure we have three subjects, that is N, Bob and Carl, and we have four objects, file 1, file 2, file 3 and a program 1. So N can perform on read write operations on file 1 and can perform read and write operations on file 2, while it cannot perform any functions on file 3 and can execute program 1. While Bob can perform read and read write operations on file 1 and file 3, while it cannot perform any operations on file 2 and program 1. Similarly for Carl, it can perform file read and execute read on file 2 and program 1, while it cannot perform any operations on file 1 and file 3. This is how a matrix model determines its operations for subjects over objects. Now look at its short analysis of access control matrix. So first, what are its strengths? First one is granular control. So access control matrix allow fine-grained access to the fine-grained access rules and access policies to specify what resources and actions a subject can perform on the object. Second one is simple and intuitive. So access control matrix are very simple to implement and easy to understand. The third one is well established. So access control models are well defined and well established, and it is been widely used for information technology in several decades. Scalable access control matrix is highly scalable and can be used to manage access for large and complex systems. Now look at its weakness. So what are its weakness? First one is complexity. Also, it is highly scalable. It is complexible in some situations where there are large number of subjects, means large number of users, and there are large number of resources increased. Now second one is maintenance. So access control metrics require regular maintenance and update to ensure that access control policies are effectively applied or not, otherwise it can lead to an issue and it can not perform effective. Third one is lack of flexibility. Although the access control matrix model is flexible, but it is not flexible in situations. Fourth one is unauthorized access. If the access control matrix is not properly implemented and its policies are not properly determined, it can lead to unauthorized access. An unauthorized person can access to a resource which is not good for the system. Opportunities for access control matrix. So first is integration with other security measures. So other security measures like authentication and encryption, access control matrix can be integrated with them so that it can perform a good performance of information security or enhance the overall system security. The second opportunity is cloud-based system. Nowadays, cloud systems are highly used, so it provides an opportunity for access control matrix to get involved and integrated into cloud system and provide a new and innovative ideas of determining and implementing the rights to the resources. Now third one is advanced analytics. So advanced analytics can be used to identify potential security threats and vulnerabilities in the access control matrix model, which can enhance the performance and removing the backdoors of the model. What are the threats to the model? The first one is cybersecurity attack. So access control matrix is vulnerable to cybersecurity attacks such as privilege escalation or identity theft or a malware attack. So this can all lead to the failure of our matrix. So second one is human error. Sometimes human can do mistakes like incorrect configuration or policy information. So this can undermine the effectiveness of our model. Third one is insufficient training. If insufficient training is provided by system administrators and users on the model, so it can lead to the misconfiguration or mismanagement of the access control policies. And the fourth one is compliance. Failure to comply with the regulatory requirements can lead to legal and financial penalties and increasing the cost of the model. So highlighting the need for effective access control matrix model, proper implementation and management must be performed. So this is all about the SWOT analysis of our access control matrix model. Real life applications of access control matrix model. First one is operating system. As you can see that it is highly used in operating system for giving the permissions to resources, to processes or programs. It can used by operating systems such as Linux and Windows to manage access control to system resources, files and directories. It also allows the administration to define the permissions as a guest or a user, so the files it can access. The second one is database management system. Access control matrix can be used in database management system to access the data. Only particular person is access to particular data. It can be based on the various rules and privileges, like administrator has the highest privilege while the guest has the lowest privilege to access the data. Third one is cloud computing. So nowadays we are using the cloud services. So proper management of the services is required. So it can be very helpful in that. Fourth one is financial applications. So access control matrix is used in financial applications to manage access control financial transaction and the data. Only personal who is required are given the information of the transaction. Fifth one is healthcare applications. It is used to manage the data for the persons and the medicines, and only the special privileged person are access to the data. Sixth one is e-commerce application. It can be used in e-commerce application to manage access control to customer data and financial transaction. Only the customer can have the access to buy the products, right? While the high level manager or high level user can have the right to access the data or financial transaction or modifying the services. So this all can be performed by the person, those who have the right. So this is all about the access control matrix model. Thank you.